Ladies, gentlemen, and you, the one who finally stopped pretending. Yeah, I'm talking to you. The one sitting there trying to act chill while your whole chest is still vibrating from the mess you just stirred up. Dog, you really went there. And the funniest part? They ain't have the balls to respond. Not even a whisper, not even a fake cough, nothing. Just silence, thick enough to choke on. You walked into that room, with that energy you sometimes forget you have. That I'm done playing nice with people who weaponize silence energy. And you said the one thing everybody else tiptoed around. You cracked open the truth like it was nothing, like you weren't risking relationships, reputations, or the whole social hierarchy they built to keep you quiet. And they stared at you like you committed a crime against the script they all agreed to follow. But you didn't flinch. You didn't blink. You didn't apologize. Because deep down, you knew exactly what you were doing. You're done being the person who swallows their own voice just to keep other people comfortable. You're done being the emotional shock absorber for people who claim they didn't know, while knowing damn well what they were doing. You're done being the one who thinks before they speak, while the whole room speaks before they think. And the wild part? They thought they could punk you forever. They really believed you were gonna sit there nodding like some NPC background character while they played hero in their own story. They weren't expecting you to stand up, get real, and say that thing. That exact thing. The thing their conscience has been screaming at them for years, but they pretend they don't hear. And the moment you said it, you watched their souls glitch. Their eyes went wide, their posture collapsed, their breath caught like they just got hit with a spiritual subpoena. That's what happens when somebody finally calls out what the whole room is running from. That's what happens when you stop protecting the people who never protected you. That's what happens when you quit being scared of being too honest and start being terrified of being fake. You felt the shift, didn't you? That energy flip, that tiny crack in the social atmosphere, the way they suddenly didn't know how to sit, how to look at you, how to pretend everything was normal, because it wasn't. You broke the illusion. You didn't just expose them. You exposed the way they hide, their excuses, their little defense mechanisms, their rehearsed reactions, their fragile egos they disguise with sarcasm and performance confidence. You didn't even raise your voice. You just told the truth they hoped you'd die with. And the funniest, most animus morphosis-coded part of all of it, nobody said a damn thing back. Why? Because it's easy to talk ST when you assume the other person won't clap back. It's easy to act brave in a room full of cowards. It's easy to play victim when nobody challenges your version of events. But the moment you open your mouth, the moment you call out their hypocrisy point blank, they fold like wet cardboard. You watched their pride spill on the floor. You watched their fake confidence melt. You watched the entire room pick a side without saying a word. And guess what? They picked fear. Fear of you. Fear of confrontation. Fear of what else you might say if they try you again. You didn't just go there. You went places they don't even have the internal courage to visit alone in their own mind. You touched wounds they've been covering with convenience. You shattered the mask they spent years perfecting. You know what's really crazy? Half those people weren't even mad at what you said. They were mad that they didn't have the guts to say it first. Because deep down, they felt it too. Deep down, they knew you were right. Deep down, they knew they'd been avoiding that exact conversation because once it's said out loud, you can't unhear it. And you, with your tired heart, your unfiltered honesty, your fed-up patience. You were the only one who reached a point where staying quiet felt more dangerous than speaking up. That's power. That's real, unmanufactured, unpolished, raw nerve power. You're not messy. You're not doing too much. You're not starting drama. You're doing something they can't stomach. You're telling the truth without begging for permission. You don't need their validation. You don't need their applause. You don't need them to agree. Because when you spoke, they flinched. When you called it out, they panicked. When you exposed the dynamic, their entire blueprint fell apart. You ever notice how people who live on lies get exhausted when someone honest walks in the room? How their whole vibe deflates? How they suddenly get quiet, avoid eye contact, start fidgeting, start over-explaining? Yeah, that's what you did. You destabilized the entire ecosystem they built to protect their egos. You didn't just say something bold. You freed yourself from the version of you they could control. And, the world felt it. Every single person in that space felt that shift. The air got heavier. The truth hung between all of you like a giant neon sign nobody wanted to acknowledge. And you just stood there, calm, breathing normally, because your soul finally did what it's been begging you to do for years: stop shrinking. They ain't respond because responding requires self-reflection, and self-reflection requires courage, and courage requires a level of inner honesty they haven't even unlocked. They're still running from themselves while you've already dissected your past, faced your trauma, unpacked your mistakes, confronted your demons, and came out with receipts and clarity. You're not too much. You're exactly the right amount. They're just too little. And the silence they gave you, that wasn't disrespect. That was fear. Fear of you. Fear of truth. Fear of the fact that the next time you open your mouth, you might say even more. You didn't just speak. You shifted the entire hierarchy. You changed the vibe. You cracked the narrative. You exposed the weakness in people who pretend they're strong. And you did it with one line, one moment, one truth bomb they never saw coming. And they'll think about it all day, all week, maybe all year, because once someone like you stops holding back, nobody around you gets to hide anymore, and you could literally feel it. That weird little pulse running through the room right after you said it, like everybody's spirit dropped 3 floors underground. And you're standing there thinking, wait, that's it? No comeback, no slick little jab, no fake confidence. Just blank faces and tight throats, because you touched a nerve they've been guarding with their entire personality. And the wildest part is that you weren't even trying to violate anybody. You were just tired of the nonsense. You were tired of walking on emotional eggshells while everybody else stomped around like they owned the place. You were tired of being the bigger person in situations that required actual honesty, not silence disguised as maturity. You finally said something real, and because it came from you, it hit different. You know that feeling you get after you finally speak up, like your chest decompresses a little? You felt that, and they felt the opposite. Their chest tightened, their ego clenched, their whole facade trembled a tiny bit, because truth doesn't hit like an insult. It hits like a mirror, and nobody in that room was ready to see themselves without the filter. And, the way they stared at you afterward, that wasn't confusion, that was calculation. They were trying to figure out how long you've been noticing the things they pretend aren't happening. They were wondering if you've got more to say. They were terrified that if they breathe wrong, you'll expose another part of the performance. they've been acting out for way too long. You can always tell when someone's guilty by the way they avoid eye contact. You saw it, right? The way they suddenly looked at the floor, or at their phone, or at somebody's shoulder because looking you in the eyes would have cracked their entire identity. You didn't even raise your voice, but your presence alone turned the whole atmosphere into a courtroom that they weren't prepared to be on trial for. And the funniest thing, is that half of them wanted to say, "You're wrong," but they couldn't. Not because your words were too aggressive, but because they were too accurate, too specific. Too close to the truth, they've been ducking behind fake smiles and overplayed confidence. You know how powerful that makes you, being the person who speaks with clarity in a world that runs on denial. Being the one who confronts reality while others build personalities around avoiding it. Being the one who's actually willing to check the vibe of a room instead of pretending everything's fine. And when you walked away, because you did, you had to. You could feel every single pair of eyes burning into your back, not in anger, but in shock. In respect they'll never admit. In fear of what else you might be capable of saying. Because the truth is, you didn't just call out a situation. You exposed a pattern, a system, a dynamic, a whole ecosystem of fake peacekeeping that's been rotting for years underneath the polite small talk. People get loud when they think you're weak. People get quiet when they realize you're not. You felt the shift in your own body too, didn't you? Like something unlocked. Like some dormant version of you finally stood up inside your chest and said, "Yeah, this is who I actually am." And that version of you doesn't flinch when people get uncomfortable. That version of you doesn't shrink because someone else feels threatened by your honesty. That version of you doesn't apologize for having a backbone. And watching them scramble emotionally, trying to gather themselves after you spoke, you saw the insecurity slip out from under their fake confidence. You saw the real them, not the curated version, not the social mask, the raw, unprepared, exposed version that hopes nobody notices how fragile they actually are. You weren't supposed to be the one who went there. They assumed you'd stay quiet forever. They assumed you'd live your whole life softening your words for people who never softened their actions toward you. But life gets different the moment you stop negotiating your truth. Life gets different the moment you stop asking yourself, will this make them mad? And start asking, will staying quiet make me miserable? And that's the moment they realize something dangerous about you. You're not controlled by approval anymore. Their opinions don't chain you. Their reactions don't cage you. Their silence doesn't intimidate you. Their judgment doesn't define you. You became unpredictable to them the second you opened your mouth. Not in a chaotic way, in a real way. In a way that makes people sit up straighter around you. In a way that makes even the ones who talk the most become very, very careful. Because, once someone like you shows you're willing to speak, everyone else has to change how they move. They have to check the energy twice before they try you again. They have to rethink the way they handle you, because the old version they mistook for easy to manipulate doesn't exist anymore. And that silence after you spoke, oh, that silence was sacred. That silence was a confession. That silence was every ego in that room cracking just a little bit under the weight of reality. You felt their fear, their embarrassment, their shock, their irritation at being exposed without being yelled at. You felt the shift in the power dynamic. The way the room suddenly felt smaller because everyone realized you weren't afraid of the truth. And that energy is only getting stronger inside you. Because once you taste what it feels like to finally use your voice, you don't go back to swallowing words that burn holes in your throat. You don't go back to dimming yourself for people who can't handle the full brightness of who you actually are. You don't go back to being the version of yourself that made everyone else comfortable while draining the life out of you. You tapped into something real, something dangerous, something powerful, and everyone around you felt it. And it's kinda wild when you think about it, because once that switch flips inside you, it's not just your voice that changes. It's your presence, the way you walk into a room, the way you sit, the way you breathe. People start watching you differently, like they're low-key waiting to see what you'll say next, because they realized you don't play by the unspoken rules anymore. You're not trapped in that keep the peace at your own expense mindset they depended on. And you could feel it? That slow ripple of anxiety crawling across their faces as they replay your words in their head, trying to figure out if you were talking about just one situation or if you've been clocking everything this whole time. That paranoia. That wasn't an accident. That was the truth doing what truth does, burning through every little lie, every little performance, every little moment they thought they got away with. The way they suddenly started acting nice. You saw that too. That awkward, shaky kindness that shows up when someone realizes you're no longer someone they can manipulate. They weren't being kind. They were being cautious. They weren't being respectful. They were being scared of what else you might call out. And you can always tell, right? You can always feel when someone's tone shifts because you changed, not because they grew. The ones who used to talk slick suddenly couldn't find anything clever to say. The ones who used to dominate conversations suddenly kept checking your reaction like they needed your approval to keep talking. The ones who thought you were soft suddenly started treating you like a loaded weapon. Because, when a person stops letting everyone walk over them, there's this quiet authority that forms in the room. A presence you can't fake. A kind of energy that makes insecure people shrink, even without you saying a word. And you didn't ask for that power. You just stopped giving it away. It's funny, because everyone thinks courage is loud, but the loudest people in that room said nothing back to you. Not a peep, not a twitch. They folded the moment they realized they couldn't twist your words or gaslight their way out of it. They just sat there hoping the tension would go away if nobody acknowledged it. But tension doesn't disappear when it's built on truth. It lingers, it sits with them, it follows them home. It crawls inside their thoughts at 3 a.m. when they're replaying every little thing you've ever noticed, and, you didn't just speak. You revealed capacity. The capacity to confront. The capacity to see. The capacity to cut through bullshit that everyone else tiptoes around. People don't get quiet because they're offended. People get quiet because they're exposed. They weren't shocked that you said it. They were shocked that you said it. The person they counted on to swallow their feelings, take the high road, and not make things uncomfortable. They built this whole version of you in their head, a version who'd never push back, never confront, never call them out. And then you shattered it with one line, and that's the part that scared them. Not the content, but the evolution. Once someone evolves in a direction others didn't prepare for, everyone who used to feed off their silence starts losing their balance. You could literally see some of them recalibrating mentally, like, oh, We can't treat them like that anymore. They're not saying it out loud, but the energy gave it away. You probably felt it lingering afterward too. That weird mixture of empowerment and adrenaline, like your spirit finally inhaled after years of holding its breath. Your heart wasn't racing from fear. It was racing from finally standing in your own honesty without flinching. And even though the room was silent, something inside you felt louder, fuller, more grounded than ever. You changed the dynamic without giving a speech, without yelling, without clapping back. Just by telling the truth they prayed you'd choke on. And you watched the whole atmosphere tilt in your direction. Not because you demanded power, but because you stopped giving away the power you already had. And that's the thing they don't want to admit. They always knew you were capable of this. They just hoped you'd never realize it. But you did. And that realization, that's when everything in their body language shifted. That's when the fear started. That's when your presence got heavy enough to distort the entire room's energy. And you can feel that shift happening in more places now. Not just in that moment. Every conversation feels different. Every interaction feels realer. Every room you walk into feels like it has to adjust to you instead of the other way around. Because once you tap into that version of yourself, the unfiltered one, the honest one, the one who refuses to be emotionally bullied into silence, you become a different kind of presence entirely. A presence people respect. A presence people fear. A presence people watch carefully. And that energy inside you? It's still rising. It's still unfolding. It's still expanding into something they won't be able to ignore at all. And it's kinda crazy because, you can feel people studying you now in ways they never did before. Not out of admiration, out of caution. Like they're trying to figure out what version of you they're dealing with. Because the old version, the quiet one, the one who swallowed everything, isn't the one standing in front of them anymore. And that uncertainty, that's shaking them in places they don't talk about. You ever notice how the ones who used to talk the biggest suddenly get real small around you? How the ones who used to throw shade suddenly can't maintain eye contact? How the ones who used to crack jokes at your expense suddenly laugh a little too softly? Like they're scared the wrong joke might set off another truth bomb. They're not scared of you being mean. They're scared of you being accurate again. Scared you'll peel back another layer they've been taping together with denial and half-truths. Scared you'll point out something they've been hiding behind humor or confidence or that fake chill persona they use to cover the fact that their ego bruises like fruit. And you can feel their fear. You can feel the tension when you walk in. Like the atmosphere dips, and nobody knows where to put their hands or their eyes. That's what happens when someone realizes you're not the one they can dump their emotional garbage on anymore. You're not the sponge. You're not the soft landing. You're not the safe punching bag they depended on. You became the person who can actually see them, not the version they show the world, the real one. And people who've built their identity on performance don't know what to do when they're finally seen. And look at how they act in around you now. You'll catch them over-explaining, trying too hard, editing their stories in real time, making sure they don't contradict themselves, because they know you pay attention. You always paid attention. You just finally let it show. You didn't get scarier. They just realized you'd been smarter than them the whole time. And watching someone process that realization in real time, man, it's wild.